Welcome to the Divergent AF podcast. I'm your host, Selena Thompson, a late diagnosed ADHD mother on a hashtag journey to unapologetic authenticity. Dive into the rabbit hole realness with me as we overshare unfiltered and relatable stories of what neurodivergent life is really like. Lifting the lid on the honest, hilarious, and heartbreaking topics typically confined to our inner monologue. Get ready to feel seen and heard as we ditch the to-do list, the daily planners, but most importantly, the shame. Okay, so this is not how I planned on doing this episode or this topic. I wanted to cover emotional regulation or the lack thereof, and I had been meaning to do it for the last 3 days. But you see, for the last 3 days, I was in an emotional spiral, so I couldn't do the recording. And anyway, here I am on night 3. I've just been crying for the last few hours. I've tried all my really healthy coping mechanisms all throughout the day. They're not working, and I just suddenly thought, what a perfect opportunity to talk about emotional spiraling when you're in an emotional spiral, really. And I think maybe once I get this out, maybe then I'll get to sleep, because it's just not working. Nothing is working. And I just wanted to get real about this. So what time is it? It's 3:33. That's angel numbers. Okay, I don't know what that means, but it's a sign. It's a sign. So I don't know how this is possible, but apparently emotional regulation, or, losing control of emotions, is still not recognized in the DSM-5. And I don't know if you've watched any of Dr. Russell Barclay's content. He is incredible. I'll have to put a link in. He's very passionate, as he should be. And basically, there are so many people, or so many professionals, health professionals, that are fighting still to get this recognized as a symptom for diagnosing ADHD. And I still can't believe, duh, really? And the way he explains it, which is way better than what I could ever do, is that emotions really drive everything. I mean, impulsivity, emotions, reckless behavior, emotions, sleeping problems, emotions, outbursts in speech, saying the wrong thing, emotions, distractibility, bored, emotions. And I just can't believe that it actually has just been overlooked, because when I think about what my core problem is every day, it is my emotions. And I never know what I'm going to get out of the pick and mix. And it's really frustrating, and I'm still working on it. And I'm 36. I did Google my age. I'm 36. I'm still working on it, and I know that it's not just me. I know that when we really break it down, it's all about, we just can't regulate. I can't regulate. And, you try all these things, and I go and get this craniosacral, I don't know, I'm probably not saying it right, kind of this relaxing treatment. I go to my therapist. I go and do cold plunges and saunas. I phone a friend if, they feel like talking to me. I do art. I'm a self-taught artist. I don't sell it, because that would be too much pressure and I wouldn't want to do it anymore. I try all these things, and the further you go down the list and the earlier it gets into the morning, the more distressing it gets. And, you've had, for me, I've always had sleeping problems since I was a kid. And it's almost when the nighttime rolls around, this kind of anxiety comes in, oh my gosh, what's the clock out time going to be tonight? Because it's usually a quetiapine and a hypnotism session. If you haven't tried The Hypnotist on Spotify, I really recommend it. But it's just, yeah, when that fails, you're really done. And I think when you just really try battling yourself, you're battling yourself, it's exhausting. I'm exhausted. I'm on night 3 of this. And this is probably the worst night because I feel like it's now all compounding, the less sleep, you know, you don't want to eat as much, because I don't know about you, but I just can't chew food when I'm really upset. It's like my mouth is depressed. Like if someone puts some toast in front of me, it just is like, so that's where smoothies and sipping the soup out of the butter chicken really help. But when you're on that kind of level, that's hard. And I know that this will not be the last time. And it's so, I can't even explain to anyone that doesn't live this how upsetting and frustrating it is. It is like you are a prisoner in your own brain that won't shut down. And I just would love to swap for a day. Sometimes I fantasize about what it would be like if someone said, just stop thinking, just stop overthinking, just don't be anxious. And then you just go, I wonder what that would be like just for one day. Because I feel that, it's like neurotypical people can just find the light switch in the dark and they can switch it off. But I feel like for me personally, when you need to plug in an appliance like a lamp and it's dark and, it's got the 3 prongs and surely, you can get this and you feel the little like grooves of where it goes, you feel the little prongs. I don't know about you, but I will battle that for about 5 minutes until I give up and turn the light on. And I just think, why was that so hard? That's how I feel. It's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, it's not like you're putting thread through a needle. I just don't understand why plugging in a lamp in the dark is just, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I feel that people looking in can just not understand and be like, just go to sleep and just calm down. And yeah, mate, like I'm trying, I'm really trying. And I guess because it's invisible, no one sees the energy that's swirling and whirling around. For me, because, we always love to have anal allergies and allergies. Why do they have the word anal in it? I'm just saying, an anal allergy. My favorite one for me is like a volcano that's about to erupt and you can't just put, some Glad wrap over the top or a cork and be like, don't do it now. It's really inconvenient. It's like, no, this is going to blow, mate. This is going to blow. And it's kind of like the more you repress it, it actually gets worse. And then it has to come out and it's usually at like the worst time for it to come out too. And I feel like for me, my view has changed about emotions and I don't try and stop it as much. I mean, I may try and remove myself to a better area, but it's all about, for me, you can't stop the volcano, but it's like, okay, how do we get the lava to the ocean to cool down as fast? Isn't that beautiful? I thought of that on myself. It's quite poetic. At my daughter's school, in her classroom particularly, they have a corner and it's called the comfort corner. I think I got that right. And I've never seen this before. And I think that this should be in every classroom, in every workplace, in every airport, in every shopping mall, in everyone's home probably, because I think it's brilliant. And it's basically just accepting that there is no such thing as a bad emotion and stop that, don't be frustrated, don't be angry, don't be upset because it's normal and it's going to pass. So if any of the children are feeling an emotion, right, that they are feeling overwhelmed with, they can take themselves to the little corner. The rest of the children know not to be like, oh, look, they're in the comfort corner, it's just business as usual. And they can take as long as they need. And they've got fiddle whiddle diddles, fidgets. Always say fiddle diddle. They can name the emotion. They can do some like little colouring. And basically, what I've been told by the teacher is that they recover and bounce back so much quicker. And they come back when they're ready, and then they can choose if they want to talk about it or not. And I just love that. And also, she role models it for the kids. I mean, I don't know if that was me, I would be there, several times a day in that corner. But I think it's brilliant. I think it's a really good way of looking at it. It's not trying to stop it, especially for neurodivergent people. I feel like we're mainly like driven, like we live on emotion. And again, it's hard trying to fit into a construct of you cannot show those emotions and everyone should be happy. And if you're sad, like sadness is like for a very short amount of time. And, it's just, I think it's great. So, usually back in the day, without even realizing that this was my go to, but to kind of dull or alleviate really strong emotions, whether that was sadness or anger, it was always the 4 Ds. It was drink, drugs, dilemate, and dissociate, the 4 Ds. But that would just give you usually BDE. And that's a big distressing episode. It actually made it worse. And I know that I'm not alone in that. And it's just you don't even realize that that is what you were trying to do. So typically, when I'm triggered emotionally, and sometimes most of the time, I don't actually see it coming, but that actually does go for happy emotions as well. The smallest thing could make me insanely happy, and then the smallest thing could also make me feel very existential crisis mode. But when I feel it coming, it's almost like it just hits my body. It hits my body. I feel physically in pain. I feel sick. Sometimes I vomit if it's really bad. And I can't take my attention away from it at all, no matter how much I try. And I feel like sometimes when I'm around people that just don't understand and they say, just don't think about and try and distract yourself, or then no, I just go into the dissociate mode because I just feel like, whoa, like I am just so much in pain and I'm weird and I can't get over it. And it's horrible. It's really not a life that you choose. It really isn't. And then obviously the worst thing about losing control of your emotions and not seeing an ending is that it does impact and colour everything you do. It impacts how you talk to people or don't talk to people. It impacts what you eat. It definitely impacts your sleep. And then it's this really bad snowball effect. And then I like to say, I'm in the hole. Like, I used to kind of feel like I'll never get out of this one. This is the one to end all holes. I know I said that last time, but no, this is the real one. But now I think with my newfound awareness, I'm like, yeah, until next time, motherfucker, because they always come back and it's a cycle. And if you know anything that takes this away or fixes it, let me know. Aside from a lobotomy. For me personally, going through the school system, I was always the kid that cried. I mean, all the school photos of me, I'm crying. I don't know why. I think it was just very overwhelming, but my go-to is I've just always been the crier. I wish that I was more of the angry type, but I feel like the anger comes after I've had the cry. But being labelled as, sensitive, which is kind of really, weak. I guess people will say sensitive, weak. That's how I always felt. And I hated that label. It was always sensitive. And that made me hate myself even more and hate my emotions and just hate how I was. And I just always wished that I could just change it. And I always wished that I could just not give a fuck. And the only way that I really could do that was when I started drinking. I really didn't give a fuck. Then towards the end of the night, really didn't give a fuck. And that's not sustainable. But I can see why and how I did it, because it goes back to the whole thing of you can't change some things about you, and you can't change, I believe, unless, you know, you're lobotomized or heavily sedated, that you can't change the wiring in your brain. And when you talk to other people that live this life, it's so comforting to know that you're not the only one, and that you can ring having a panic attack because you just tried to go grocery shopping and it was too loud and you couldn't find anything, and they just get it, and then suddenly you get over it a lot quicker, kind of just like the comfort corner. So I really wish that there were just more comfort corners in the world, but I would want to rebrand. I want to call them a reg room. It's like a rec room, but a reg room, you know, regulate room. You could just smash it and it'd be soundproof. And I don't know, would we spend all our time in there though? But it's just a thought. I wonder if we had these kind of spaces and this was just really normalized, if we would actually just get over it quicker. Because I find that as soon as I talk to someone and they say to me, I know exactly how you're feeling right now. I did this, this, and this, and this. And I just go, whew. And then suddenly I get over it a lot quicker. I just really wonder. So even now that I've just decided to do this recording in my studio, which is my bedroom, I feel better now. And I feel, because I verbalized it and there is no one listening to it yet, I'm almost just like a weight has just been lifted. Okay, honestly, I'm actually tired now. I'm actually tired. I feel like I can wrap this up. I feel this was actually a little bit of a mini spiral, you know, the microwavable spirals. You don't need to like put it in the stovetop. So if you're currently visiting Spiral City and you can't find the exit, just know that I found the exit, and we will always find the exit again, I promise. Even though it doesn't feel like you will. It's a life. It's a hashtag journey and it's a life. Peace out.